Welcome to Take It from the Ironwoman. My name is Susanne Müller, your host and the Ironwoman. This podcast is about empowering yourself and others to make real changes in the world. You will hear from everyday, smart, sophisticated, hip people like you and me. Not everybody has to be an Ironwoman to impress the world. Together, we will learn from the sports and business leaders how you can become a more successful person as an entrepreneur or a leader. It's one step at a time, one day at a time. Take your steps now. Take your big steps now. Join me on this journey to success. Take it from the Ironwoman. We only have special guests, and today I have the honor to talk to Noah Scalin. I took a class with him and his sister. It was just amazing. Something to think differently, to take the time to be creative, even if I say I'm not creative or I don't know, I cannot draw. It's to awaken your other senses that you don't need. But I'm really happy that we have the opportunity to talk to an artist because I love all arts. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Noah. Thank you so much for taking the time. And your company is called Another Limited Rebellion for the listeners. Tell us your story. Creativity is a practice. What is your practice?
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me and for taking our class. Yeah, so Micah and I are brother and sister who work together. We're both artists. Our parents are artists and art teachers. So I always say I had no choice but to be doing something creative. I actually tried to avoid being a teacher because I saw them sort of get their degrees in fine art and then teach. I kind of want to use my art skills more directly. I went into theater design and then I got out of school and went into graphic design. That would be sort of a way to be creative and get paid. And it worked. I ran the business as a graphic designer for many years, doing illustration design, logos, branding, all that stuff. I had a creative career. I was always sort of an artist in the background, and I knew I was an artist, but other people didn't know I was an artist. I did a project back in 2007, 2008 called Skull a Day, where I made skull art every single day for a year. And that project really kickstarted my fine art career in sort of a public way. It became very popular online, got me a lot of attention, ended up leading to book deals, opportunities to show my art in museums and galleries, to travel around and give talks. It was all this amazing stuff came out of it, really phenomenal, and really changed people's perception of me rather than a sort of a designer who happened to do art to an artist who had other skills. One of the things that came out of it was I started doing this corporate speaking, and it was just this side thing that was kind of random because I didn't have a business background. I'd worked in a couple different industries, the film industry, the clothing industry, fashion industry, but I just didn't see where this overlapped. And luckily there was a person running a company here in Richmond, Virginia, where I'm based, and was like, hey, come talk to our corporate clients about this art project. And I said, okay. Then I got it sent out to some of the gigs by myself. And then some people asked me to give some keynote talks. It was this random thing I was doing and I was liking it. It was sort of an addendum to me making a living doing the sort of commercial arts. And then my sister said, I think there's a business here. Can I develop? I said, sure. We transitioned what had been my design firm, which was Another Limited Rebellion, into a consultancy that took this sort of skill set that we had developed around how you can take artists' tools and transfer them into the business world. And so now I have this sort of interesting bifurcated career where I'm a fine artist and also the sort of the business consultant. And the two actually overlap quite a bit, which is what's great. I get opportunities to make my own art, but I also make art that's commissioned work and work that's with businesses. And then I do this consulting work where I'm using my artwork as the way in to talk about these topics and help have open this door for people to explore their creativity in a functional context. It's actually a really great balance. I like it a lot. I would never have imagined I would end up in corporate headquarters all over the world. The last place I thought I'd be, in fact, I kind of intended my life not to be like that. It was very random and fun, and I get a lot out of it because when I'm in those spaces, I work with people who maybe don't think of themselves as creative. They see a real transformation happen first person. And I love that. I love people coming to me saying, wow, I took your class and now I'm thinking differently. I'm acting differently at work. I brought this home to my family. We're doing things differently now. But you can't ask for more as a teacher, as somebody who puts things in the world. I ended up being a teacher, even though I didn't think that my career was going to be. And I've been very lucky that I've had a few opportunities now to sort of make art that has reached a lot of people and then has then led to other opportunities and on and on. And that really was the foundation for the tools that we developed for Another Limited Rebellion. So the things that we teach other people is rooted in our own art projects. And especially the Skull a Day project was the real initial element of, hey, make art daily and watch how it really can change things for you. And so it transformed my career, but also my life.
And for the listeners, go on YouTube and watch that 1 or 2 minute skulls a day. How did that start? Were you interested in skulls, or what was the pivotal moment for that project?
Growing up, I liked pirates. I liked archaeology. King Tut's tomb was a big deal back in the late 70s when I was a kid. And as I got older, I liked them aesthetically, and I got tattoos of skulls. But that was sort of something hanging around. And I guess I was aware of daily projects in a variety of forms. They existed. And I'd actually initiated one. I don't talk about it that often, but several years before I did Skull a Day, I did do another daily project. And it was Haiku a Day. It's like in 2001. I don't know why I did it. I couldn't even tell you why, but I was like, this is a little creative practice. I was riding the bus to and from where I was living to go to work, and I had some time on my hands, and I would just sort of do this little practice. And I got a lot out of it. I didn't even do a whole year's worth because this was pre basically all social media. I built a little website. I would post it and share it with my friends once a month. I'd get as many done as I got done, but I got a ton out of it. So I guess in the back of my head, I knew that was a format I could use. And then what had happened in 2007 was that I had already been working professionally for about 12 years. So I had worked for other people for 6 years, and then I'd launched my own company and run that for 6 years. And after 12 years of professional creative work, I had burned out entirely. I just was not feeling it anymore. I didn't like the work had become repetitive. I was like, I wasn't solving, I like solving problems, and I wasn't solving new problems. It was just doing the same thing. The clients weren't giving me new challenges. I wasn't getting bigger clients. So everything had flatlined, which is like just death. I had gone into this world because I was trying to be creative for a living, and it was fun. And when it wasn't fun, what's the point of doing this? I was really stuck because I honestly didn't know what to do, because I already had the job that I had sort of envisioned for myself. I got it, and I didn't have a new vision. I didn't have another. That's interesting because I had a goal, and when I reached the goal, I didn't make a new goal. I think that's important because then I didn't go anywhere else. In the midst of that, I was walking through a park when I was stuck, and I had an idea, and it just came to me all at once, like, oh, I should do this daily art project around skulls. It really came all together. That's what's interesting about the brain, right? Is there's this sort of invisible back part that's doing stuff all the time, but it's unconscious. And then there's the forward conscious part of your brain where you're thinking about stuff. And what I love is that you take in input, and if you get enough in there, that back part does interesting stuff. And when you give it some time, right? A park walk, a bicycle ride, a shower, finally it spits some stuff out, and it spit that out as is. And I just said, okay, let's do that. I like skulls. I'm stuck. Why not? And so it got me making art again for myself, which I hadn't been doing. All I was doing was art for clients. So I started making my own art. And when I did that, then I was like, oh, I'm having fun. Other people are enjoying this, because my idea was to share it with people. I was getting this positive feedback, which made me want to do it more. And then it was leading to opportunities. So suddenly people are saying, hey, I want to buy this. What do you think about a book deal? Okay, great. What about this opportunity? And so it didn't take long before the project was giving me a lot of different returns, including financial returns, so that I could focus on it more. And so by the end of that year, I was in a really different place, and I was able to make a lot of choices about my career. One was that I could tell my clients, hey, I can be doing different stuff for you, and I want to be doing different stuff for you. And I could tell new clients, I'm an artist you're hiring, and I want to make art for you. So how do we make art together? I was giving galleries who I never knew how to find a way into were contacting me. Museums reaching out to me. And then I'm doing these talks and having this whole other business that's sort of developing out of it. It did everything I had hoped it would do, and so much more. And I honestly could not have planned it. If, you know what I mean? If somebody said to me, Noah, what would you do to get these results? I'm not sure I would have said, make a bunch of skulls.
No, no, no. It's interesting that everybody thinks like we need to be in front of the computer and think, and research and read, which is all good. But things like that happen on a walk, in the shower, when you brush your teeth. I'm a runner, so I do the best thinking and creative thinking on the run. I wish
Yeah.
sometimes I had my phone with me to record it because I'm like, this is the best what
Yeah.
I need. And then I
Yeah.
come home and I was like, what was it again? Now when I'm running and have good thoughts, I kind of like try to, okay, stop, compartmentalize it.
Yeah.
So then when
Capture
I come
this.
back to capture it, I almost take a picture of it and get it back. I envision you with something like this, and your brain is telling you, hey, you need to do it. Now is the
Yeah.
time. It's
Here's the
almost
thing.
like your skull is telling you to do the skulls.
Exactly. Yeah, well, that's what was wild about it is that I picked something I liked and I was passionate about it. I always tell people that's super important. Don't do it cynically. Don't try to figure out the market for it. Like make what you love, what you care about, because other people are out there who care about it and you'll find them because your passion will come through. I did something I loved. And at the time, skulls weren't the way. Today, skulls are so prevalent. They're on everything, kids' clothes, marketing stickers, it doesn't matter. Back then, it was still a little bit of a like only for some sort of people. And it's sort of, and then it was just as I was doing the project, it was shifting society. It worked out in my benefit, but it also worked out because everyone everywhere knows what a skull is, recognizes it, and it has a meaning to them. Different meanings in different cultures, but it's meaningful to everyone because it represents something that you're directly connected to. And so you're going to think about it, but maybe different culturally, but it's going to be meaningful. That was interesting because it could engage with people on that level. And I was always shocked when I started that it was like people telling me, oh, my kids love this. And when I put out one of my first book, actually both books I put out about this project, people frequently send me pictures of their kids looking at the book and saying, oh, my child loves to just stare at this and think about it and flip the pages. I was tapping into something very childlike when I was doing the project. And part of the work we do when we're teaching people is about tapping back into that energy. So of course, kids love it because it's what they already do. It's more about sort of getting adults to remember the value of that and sort of return to it because for so many people, this work, this creative stuff, unless you are self-identified as an artist or creative, has been pushed aside, has been diminished in some way. You've been told it's not professional, it's not appropriate, you're not good at it. Oh, if you can't draw well, then you can't be an artist, whatever it is. And so people really shove this stuff to the side, and it's a real shame. It's a human thing, and so it's important to develop that. And then from a business perspective, it's an extremely valuable set of skills that are desperately needed right now. There's a lot of reasons that people should re-engage with their creativity.
So when I'm listening to you, you said, I started the skulls and people reached out to me. It seems like everything is so easy for you. How do you network?
Yeah. Well, so, what Micah and I did was codify the experience I had initially with Skull a Day, which was I sort of intuitively was like, if I do this, when I did it before with haiku, I kind of kept it to myself and just shared with a few friends. By the time I did Skull a Day, it was more of the blogging world. This is still kind of just at the beginning of a lot of social media. I made a blog, but what I did do was I intentionally shared my project right away. Well, not right away, a few days in with a lot of friends. And I was like, hey, please follow me here. I knew I would be more likely to get it done if there were people holding me accountable. But that accountability was number one. Number two was I said, please share it with other people so more people could see it. And that led to then getting media attention, and that led to getting strangers involved. And then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. That sharing serves a lot of purposes. And when we developed the creative sprint model, which is do something, number one, got to do stuff. Don't start with planning, preparing, researching, getting your budget together, all that other stuff that'll just procrastination. Just do it. Start. Then reflect on your experience and share it with other people. Then assess what you've learned, apply it to your work, and do it again and again. It's an iterative loop. The way we codified was based on that recognition that if you just do it on your own, which you can, but don't share it with people, it's harder to have an incentive to keep going. It's really hard to tell what you're getting from something. And there's always life that's going to get in the way, a core component to it. And then the other piece is really that engagement with other people allows opportunities, makes things happen. There aren't the things you necessarily will expect to happen. I would say that the project was collaborative in that even though I was making my own stuff every day by myself, essentially, there were people that did help me along the way, and there were definitely collaborative days. But it really was a collaborative project the day I shared it with other people, because engaging them in my process allowed them to get involved, whether that's just through their enthusiasm or giving me ideas or suggesting or helping me or connecting me. And so much more happened. It was exponentially greater because of that. People have secret projects and they think that they need to get them all the way done before they're going to share it with anybody. It's got to be perfect and it's got to be exactly right. The problem is that if you do that, by the time you get it in the world, if you ever get in the world, maybe somebody's already beat you to it, or it's not as good as it could be because people could have given you feedback along the way and helped you, or you just never bother finishing it. And so I really say, even if it's scary, that sharing component has to be a necessity, and it doesn't have to be publicly sharing. That's the other piece. Especially in the corporate world, we work with a lot of people where, of course, they can't share it because it's secret stuff. It's internal stuff that, stuff that requires an NDA. And so we say, like, well, but who aren't you sharing with right now that you work next to? Probably there's somebody who has the same clearance as you, but doesn't know what you're doing. And that's a problem. They could be helping you. They could be giving you ideas. They could be helping you figure something out before it's too late, before you try to deliver and discover there's a massive problem. And now we spent all of our time on this project and it's too late to repair it.
How do you rejuvenate your creative batteries? What do you do when you don't work to quiet your mind?
Yeah, I have a personality where I am going all the time and I have a lot of projects always happening in parallel. I love working on new things. My least favorite thing is doing the same thing over and over. That's evidenced by what I did because Skull a Day was like different every day. And so as an artist, you often need to do the same to some degree so that there's a body of work. Part of it is I just like having lots of things happening so I can jump from one modality to another. Because if I'm working on something visual and then I switch to making music or I switch to some other practice, that by itself gives my brain all this other stuff to work with. I love to travel. I'm lucky in that my work allows me to do that, because just going somewhere else, just something else, you're not in your usual environments and everything's not familiar. So you're having to problem solve again. You're meeting new people, you're seeing new things. And that's the stuff that fills the back brain up. So I love doing that. I love reading. I love roller skating. That's one of my favorite, my one real physical activity. You do all this great stuff. And I'm like, that's my one outlet these days. I used to bicycle a lot, but I haven't had that opportunity as much lately. And so, yeah, roller skating is my sort of weekly habit that I don't think about anything. I just enjoy the music and the motion, and you have to be present because it's dangerous. And I'm old enough that if I fall, I'm going to hurt myself. I need to not fall. I can't really get caught up in my own head. I have to really be there and be present. And I do some meditation as well, which helps.
I love that. See, sometimes in a podcast, we find some nuggets that nobody else knows. Roller skating. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you for taking us on a roller skating ride on your creativity. And also thank you for having me in your sprint. This was really eye-opening. I hope we can stay in contact, and good luck with everything. We want to see what's next with the skulls or the haikus, whatever you're doing.
Yeah, please follow along and see what I do next. I love sharing my art. So
okay, wonderful. Will do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
What a cool conversation. I love art, talking about art, but then also about business. Take it from the Ironwoman. We have episodes every Monday. Come and join us, learn with us, grow with us, even after 500 episodes. Take it from the Ironwoman Global Business Coaching with Sports Parallels. Get the book, download it, or get it in your local bookstore. And also subscribe and like to this podcast where you are listening to this podcast too. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next Monday. Bye-bye. Take care.